Eddie in the house. Don't say nothing. Don't you dare. Don't you dare say nothing. Don't you dare.
Made my whole day. Made my day.
You never do me like that.
Oh, that's funny. He had something special for you, Tony.
You never do me like that, Eddie.
I'm not going to go public, but it was special. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah?
I'm fine.
You
I'm
look
getting
good.
there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
When he gets on the mic, he always lowers his voice.
It's
I'm
got-
fine. I'm fine.
He did that for me.
No.
That's that OJ. That's that OJ shit. You know?
No. You said you weren't gonna curse.
He rarely does.
Hey man, we're on the water. I can do whatever I want to do.
That's true.
Okay. All right. You know you inherited me, right? I'm part of your heritage. Right?
Explain that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, me and your dad like this,
Right.
and so you inherited
Really?
this.
I gotta deal with all this, guy. I really do have to deal with it. But Eddie is, he's my man. He's been around when I was, a little guy. He was there for us, So
Yeah.
I've got to tell you that Tony might have a good poker face, but he could not wait until you
I know,
got here.
because he wants to ridicule me. That's what he wants to do. He wants to talk about how I talk my sexy talk. He would love to have a voice like this.
hey, listen, I can sound like that in the shower.
Let's
in the
hear it.
morning.
Let's
when
hear
I'm,
your
when I'm in the
best.
shower, I can get really low.
Okay, so.
But I got a better tone than he does.
Oh, okay. I understand.
My tone is consistent.
I understand.
All
But
right,
Eddie's
you
got one of the
two.
best voices in the business. So
Yeah.
he is the
Yes.
man. That's Eddie Levert.
Yes, he does.
I'm
Welcome back to the Soul Train Cruise.
Angela. Good to see you and Orange are really kicking.
You like
Jesus. You know I love you.
Ooh, I love you too. But that voice got even lower that time. Oh my goodness. So how's it feel to be back on this cruise?
I love it because I feel like this is, I should be here.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, me and his dad spent a lot of time together when we weren't on the show. I would be at his home. I would be there, and he would ridicule me at his home. Always, Don and I was very close, very close. He was part of my life, part of my career. He brought us into Chicago when they were doing Soul Train in a little room about as big as this stage.
Wow.
And they would have all of these kids and their kids who were just wanting to dance and wanting to hear the music. And we would go there and we would do our music, and they would just, those kids, just being there and watching how he interacted with those kids. And then he took it to the West Coast, and he brought us along with it. You know what I'm saying? So your father was very much involved in the success of the OJays.
Thank you, Eddie. See, these are the times when I have to take Eddie real. I can't mess around. I can't joke around when he's talking about my father and the things that he's done and the success that he had with artists and how he felt about the business. It's very, very serious. So I don't play around with Eddie when he's talking like that. But after he says it, then I can say whatever I want to say.
When things are happening, you're talking about the early days of Soul Train. You don't realize its greatness until years later, looking back. Do you have some fond memories of being on the set of Soul Train that you could share with us?
Always.
Or funny stories?
Always. His dad, he always had jokes. It was always, he would always say, let me talk to Walter and Sammy. We don't need to talk to you.
Oh.
And that was because me and him always had, even on the set, off the set, because I would see him running around with a camera in his hand, acting like he was doing something.
Trying to look important.
And
That's not right.
so
That's not right.
well,
funny, though.
Well, and then to watch him interact with my sons after they got in the business, him also interacting with my sons, and that was like, how do I put it? I would say that seeing my sons interact with his son and the way that me and him interact with one another. Because more importantly, it was the things that we did off the set that was really great. Because I would go to his home and we would sit there and he'd tell me stories because, him and Barry White was great friends too. And so Barry White would come up there, and Don had this plexiglass piano where you could see the keyboards and all the wiring in it. And he said,
beautiful.
and he would tell us a story about how Barry would come up there and play it, and he'd play the song, and he'd be playing, and he'd vamp for maybe 2 weeks, and he'd never get to the song, and he'd say to Barry, "Well, Barry, when are you gonna start singing?" And Barry would tell him, "Well, maybe November, maybe," and it was in August. But we had ongoing jokes. We had ongoing things that we bonded. It was more than the music. It was just it was friends. Yeah, absolutely family. And he took the OJays under his arms and brought them along with him. And so, other than that, all we had was just a lot of fun.
That sounds like it. Someone in the audience just yelled out family, and that's what you were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You also had the honor of performing with your sons.
Yes.
And that had to be something really special for you to, not only be father, to your sons, but to work with them.
I've had some great moments in show business. Great moments with the OJays, really, really blessed moments, and we're still having those moments. But some of my greatest moments were with my sons, and one of my greatest moments was when me and Gerald did the "Wind Beneath My Wings" on.
Yes.
We had no idea that the song would impact the world and people like it did. We were just doing a song. We figured, okay, he would say to me, "Gerald, Dad, we're gonna do 'Wind Beneath My Wings,' and when we get to this part, I'm gonna say, 'Daddy, Daddy, Daddy.'" And I said, "Okay," and I'll say, "Son, son, son."
Okay.
And as we're doing this, we're looking at the audience, and we see people out there crying and just getting very emotional. And me and him are looking at each other like, "What the hell? What's
wrong?
What's going on? What are we doing?" And that was one of my greatest impactful moments in this business, doing that with him. And I've had some great moments. That was one of the greatest moments that I ever
I
had.
was one of the audience members crying. I will admit. It was
Yes.
so touching. I mean, you were caught up in it. And,
Yes.
like you said, you both didn't realize
Yeah.
how impactful. But for us, just seeing that love of a father and son and being able to do something like that, oh, I'm getting all misty just thinking about it. Really beautiful.
Well, Eddie, what do you think about the business now? I mean, what is really going on with the business, and how do you relate to the business today?
Tony, I just think that what has happened now is that it's become more a monopoly kind of thing. If you're not if you're not involved with the big moguls, you don't be heard. You can't be on the radio. They dictate who's going to be played and how many times they're going to be played. That's why you hear the same 20 or 30 artists always on, and that's why you don't hear the people like the Howard Hewitts, the Jeffrey Osbornes, because we're still doing new music, and you know that, but we cannot get it on the radio because of that's how they structured things.
Yes.
You know, the Clear Channels, the iHeart Radio. We're putting out these great records, but if you don't have, there's no more record companies. Now we have to be the record company, and now they charge you so much money to be played that if you pay them that money, you're not making any money.
And that's a really good point. I want to talk more about that because you're right. That's where we are these days, and there's so much to talk about. Let's take a little break.
Great,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll be right back on All Access Pass. And we're back on
Not
All
this-
Access Pass.
You guys should have heard what happened during the break.
Yes, I'm still blushing. Yes. I
But,
love it.
no,
we were talking
Eddie,
about the industry.
Yes, we were.
And we
my,
said-
one of my questions was, even though the internet and Twitter and all the things that you can do with music now without record companies, you still find that to be
When you look at they classify you have to have so many followers for it to mean anything. You have to have 1 million or so views or something for you to even make an impact on the industry. That's why you see these people who are making their little videos and putting them on. They get 1 million views. All of a sudden they're a star. All of a sudden they're big. It's like the kids nowadays when they are. See, when I came up, we had to play all the little clubs. We had to go wherever there was a club, we played, and we would drive our station wagon, and we would have all of our stuff in the back of the station wagon, and we'd pull up to the place and pull our stuff out. We'd have our sound equipment and the band and everybody in one station wagon. We're all in there like that. So so now the kids, they're exposed on a much bigger scale when you get the American Idol, The Voice, and all of that. Once they win that, they go right from there to the big stage. Now that's why some of them don't have the, let's say they don't have the education.
package.
They don't have the education of performing in front of the people. In other words, if it don't work for them vocally, if it don't work for them what they're doing, then they're lost. They'll be stranded out there like they're on an island by themselves. So now, when I came up, we went to the school we performed in front of you when you were sitting right here looking at me talking about, well, we don't know, Eddie, that wasn't shit.
You're right. Yeah.
And they sit there and they judge you, and you could see it on their face when they were telling you whether you were doing it or not. Now, they have this thing called a 360 deal, where we participate in everything that you're doing. The conglomerates participate in your personal appearance, participate in your television work, participate in all of your concerts. Anything you do in show business, they get a percentage of it. So now that's the kind of deals you get. We're going to make you big. You're going to be the biggest. We're going to be able to play you on the radio. You're going to be heard by everybody, but we're participating in everything that you do. Everything except parking, You can't get none of the parking. You can't get none of the hot dogs. You can't. We get all of that, but you have to pay us to be played.
What about collaboration? I mean, we've had quite a few artists on the show, Maxi Priest,
Jeffrey
Charlie
Osborne.
Wilson. We talk about collaboration. Is collaboration something that you are interested in, or something that you feel you could get involved in, or make sense for what's going on with Eddie?
I don't. I'm not a big fan of collaboration because that brings somebody else into my space. My space. I'm selling the OJays. I'm selling Eddie Levert. Now, if I get Maxi Priest in there, now I have to deal with what Maxi Priest wants. Now, it has nothing to do with, like, Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson is Charlie Wilson anyway. Howard Hewitt is Howard Hewitt anyway. Whispers are whispers. I don't think I need that to solidify myself. I don't think I need that to make me who I am.
And that's
That's no downplaying on them,
Right.
on the other people as a talent. But do I need that to solidify who I am? If I did, I wouldn't have never got here because they're just now here.
interesting. I love it. Love that perspective.
Fantastic.
And if I can piggyback off of that topic, you perform a lot with the OJays, of course, but you're also doing your solo thing. Do people say, all right, why are you not with the OJays? Are you leaving the OJays? Are people confused by that, or what?
No, what you have to realize is that I'm an artist. I'm always striving to be better and trying to do everything that I want to do. When you're in a group, there's a certain amount of things that you can't do because this is your arena. This is what you have to do as being a part of the group. But I'm an artist. I write and produce stuff. So I want to sing other kind of songs. I want you to know that I'm just not one-dimensional. I can do other things. And I didn't get here just being one of the OJays. It's like Walter. He's a great, great, great singer. Eric, great. You know what I'm saying? Sammy, great. But they need the public need to know that they're just not great with the OJays.
Yeah.
They're great as individuals also.
Now, Eddie, when people ask you to do songs at the OJays that they can remember, and you're trying to do Eddie Levert or whatever the case may be, is it disappointing? Do you feel like, well, I did that song 1,000,000 times, I don't want to do it again? I mean, these are things that
That's who I am.
I see.
I was a part of that. They should ask me to do that. I should do that when I'm performing. Because just to let them know that I can do the shit by myself.
How about that?
See, then he asked me why I curse, right? He asked me why I curse, right? You hear that?
I'm feeling you, Tony. I'm feeling you. I love it, though. I got to say, I love. And then you turn around and say, did I make you go, ooh?
Ooh.
Tell us about that song. Clear your throat on that one.
Well, see, that was not. Well, it had sexual overtones.
You can't deny it.
I know I can't, and I can't deny that was not the point. I tried to let them know that did I make you go ooh, and all the time that I performed for you, and all the times that I've sung those songs for you, and all the times that I've been on the stage, did I make you go ooh? At least one time.
He really thinks he's sexy, doesn't he? He's just so sexy. Ooh.
Even Tony went. Even Tony went ooh.
I'm gonna give Eddie a hard time right now. He doesn't know where this is going, but when Charlie Wilson was here, Charlie had this key, and the key was shining, and it had all these diamonds in it. And I looked at Eddie's whatever he's got here microphone. It's not shining. What's going on here?
Oh, there's some bling in there. Yes,
But you kind of like have to put a microscope on it. What is that?
I got better things to do with my money.
Oh my God! Is it time for us to go to break now? Can we go to break?
So.
Let's go to break, okay?
Let's go to break. We'll be back with more All Access Pass. We've lost control, Tony. We've lost control of the show. A long time ago. I love it. We're back on All Access Pass.
I bring disorder.
Yes,
That's
Eddie Levert.
what it's supposed to be.
Proud.
Disorder. Chaos.
See how he's looking at you, Tony? He said he's bringing disorder and chaos.
He's always bad. That's why my father felt the way he did about Eddie.
Every time,
said,
yeah.
And you.
Yeah, right.
And you.
That's right. And you.
But Eddie, what can we expect on the Soul Train cruise this year from you?
I'm like Angela was saying. I'm gonna do some OJays. I'm gonna do some Jero and Eddie Levert.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that'll do that. Look, I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna do how I do. I'm gonna go down and rub the women on the.
What now? Wait, what was that?
I'm gonna make them go.
I'm not going ooh. I can tell you that right now. You're not gonna make me do that.
Okay.
All right.
But you'll be there.
I will definitely be. I have to be there.
Do you, when you're performing on the Soul Train cruise, when you're preparing for this show? I mean, I know you're touring all the time. You're performing on many stages. But do you do something a little special in your preparation for something like this to perform on this cruise? And if so, what?
Because I have to figure out how I can get close to them, because the boat be rocking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The boat be rocking. So I have to figure out how I can just embrace my audience and make them feel like they're a part of what I'm doing and make them part of the show. That is the most important thing, because that's why they come on a cruise, because they want it to be a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
Not like doing a 20,000 seater. You want to feel like I can talk to them and they right there and they can touch the hem of my garment.
He is so royal.
Wait a second.
He's very royal.
Wait a second.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it.
Wait a second. You were showing off with this orange outfit you got on here, and now he's showing off. Okay, I don't understand what's going on here.
It's too much.
I'm just trying to be a nice guy.
Oh, well, you are. You
I'm
are.
trying to be a nice guy.
We are.
Just handing me all this shit.
the relationship.
You did well, Tony. I have to commend you. You've taken the legacy and you've taken it to the next level, and you make it live on. Like I tell you, and like I told you all the time, you are the face. You are the thing that represents this. This and as well as should be, because who else could do it?
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you, real does. I want to say something. I want to be bad too right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Go for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You like? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I can handle it.
Oh,
I can handle it.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what to say now. See, when he puts me on the spot like that, I can't come up with it. But when he's just relaxing, I can come up with it.
It's better when he's not prepared.
Absolutely.
And so open.
Absolutely. He's wide open. He's
In
wide
other
open.
words, he just want to assassinate me. That's what it is. That's what it is.
When
But
you're
now I
not
want you
looking.
guys to know that Eddie's not here to take pictures and sign autographs. I can tell you that right now.
That's him saying that shit. I didn't tell him that.
Trying to start something in here. You know what? You mentioned how being on a cruise, you're right there with your audience. They can touch the hem of your garment. But that really is what it's all
Or
about.
they can touch Howard's shorts.
Or Howard's green shorts. But that is one of the most beautiful things about coming on the Soul Train cruise. They get to see their favorite artists, people who they'd pay good money to see every single night, but they don't have the opportunity to get this close and personal and take a picture with them and talk to them. So just thank you for having the personality that you have.
That's you, you know, and talking about Howard. Now, Howard was with the group Shalimar, and great group, great things. Then he went out on his own and became Howard Hewitt. Now, I used to think, well, hell, I could do that shit. I could go out and I could be Eddie Levert and be like Howard Hewitt. And they'll be screaming all about me. That shit ain't easy. That is hard work. Being a single artist, I have to let Jeffrey know, because Jeffrey came from LTD, you know, and they've been able to transcend that thing and become themselves as individuals apart from the group. It's a hard process because the crowds, like you said earlier, still want, well, where's Walt and Eric at?
Right.
Hell, they at home. I'm here. And I know Howard has heard, well, where's Jody at?
Yeah.
And so you have to get past that, where the crowd, your biggest critic is the crowd, because they want to know, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you out here by yourself? Because first and foremost, like I said before, we're artists, and that's what we do. And we want to keep adventuring and keep on giving the people what they want.
No, that's a fantastic explanation. I mean, I really wanted to know that myself, Eddie. I mean, you know, we've seen artists talk to artists. You know, there's all kinds of, you know, explanations. But when you talk to a guy like you who's been in the business as long as you have, to know your feeling and why you're doing what you're doing is just a history lesson. It really is.
Look, I've been in this now for about 58 years, you all.
Beautiful.
I've been doing this a long
It's amazing.
time. My youngest daughter will be graduating from high school probably in 2020. I experienced it was very deep this summer, because my partner, Walter, he got really sick this summer, and we were in Hampton, Virginia, and we were doing the Hampton Jazz Festival. And he was very sick, and he wanted to go out there and perform anyway. And I kept telling him, no, just go ahead and, you know, get your health together. Don't worry about it. I'll go out and I'll handle it. I'll do it. But he wanted to go, and he went out there, and the people could tell that he wasn't 100%. He wasn't even 50%, because he immediately went into the hospital right after we did that date. Now, I love what I do. I love the audience. I love performing when I'm well, and I love to give you 100%. But I've decided that in 2020, I'm going to retire from this. So if you get a chance, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I refuse. I'm not going to die up there on the stage. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let them see me not in the best of shape.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let them see me my demise in front of the crowd. I love what I do, and this is hard for me because I will be like maybe 78, 79. That's almost 80. That's almost 80.
Looking good, right?
Do you understand?
Looking
So,
good.
2020, I'm gonna hang up my dancing shoes, and I'm. I said all of that to say to you all, if you want to see the OJays in the next 2 years, make sure you come out and check them out,
Yes.
because that's what I'll be doing. This is like my winding down. You know, I've enjoyed myself. Y'all better know it. And if you don't, I just think that I have to call it off now. I have to be the first to realize it. You know, and it's like I've seen so many. Just, it's like Luther, Marvin Gaye, my son. And see, I used to always tell them, you can't give show business everything. You got to save some for yourself. And you got to have something for you. And I used to tell my kid that all the time. Save some for yourself. Don't give it all. Save a little bit for you. You need to have that.
Pearls of wisdom.
Thank you for sharing that, Eddie.
Pearls
I
of
really
wisdom.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much for
sharing that.
being with us.
Yes.
This has
Yes,
been a great
absolutely.
conversation, hasn't
It
it?
certainly has. It certainly has.
You know, the back and forth. Tony cussed a little bit.
Yeah, I did. But
You brought that out.
you know,
I
but
hope you're
just
proud.
Just wait till this microphone is off. You'll be hearing all kinds of shit.
Thank you so much for joining us again.
I
Eddie
love you
Levert.
all.
Eddie Levert.
I love you all.
Thank you so
Love you all.
much. That's it for us on All Access Pass.
Love you all.